Hi everyone, welcome to my review for Wes Craven's Scream from 1996. So yes, back again, and today, I'm really looking forward to kind of discussing this film, the original Scream, and from then, I'll go on to kind of rewatch, of course, and review the rest of the films in the franchise. So of course, Scream 2, 3, and 4. These films here, and yes, once again, a Wes Craven review, and it's going to be great to do this and kind of, hear your thoughts as well. I must say now, spoilers alert, if you haven't seen this film, I recommend watching it and then coming back to this discussion, and we can kind of talk in the comments, if you want, and I look forward to that. But yes, I do plan, with that said now, I do plan on reviewing these films, and going through these. I don't plan on, watching 2, 3, and 4 until January, simply because, or when this is uploaded, it'll probably be, December. So this month, kind of thing, I'm all kind of booked in, or booked up, and, different films. I've literally scheduled pretty much the entire month, every single day of different films, and stuff, and Christmas films, and just, other films, and, Scream films are not on that list, so it'll be January that I do, or resume this kind of series. But for now, I rewatched this film here a few weeks ago. In fact, 2 weeks, as of today, 2 weeks ago, and just had a great time with this, and many memories, attached to this film, and the first 3 films, especially in this franchise. Remember kind of watching these films when I was, a lot younger than I am now. Certainly, I was a very young kid, kind of watching these films, and just having a great time, of these, especially this film here. Very vivid kind of memories of this, and my first watch, of this film, just remembering the kind of the different moments, and my reaction actually to these. But yes, this film here, very iconic, and once again, Wes Craven directs, this film here, let me tell you, this is one of the best, kind of slasher films for me of all time, and I just love this film so much. It's truly a legendary experience, and it's such a nostalgic film, so warm and human, this experience, but so clever as well. Of course, Kevin Williamson, he kind of penned the script, and working with Wes, and just kind of really making such a clever kind of concept here, commenting, yes, kind of satirizing different elements within the horror genre, especially slashers, for example in films like the Halloween series, and and Nightmare on Elm Street as well, which is great to see. And yes, we see actually clips, for example, of Halloween, the original film there, and on the in the final act, but a comment on different horror films, slashers, but really just celebrating the tropes or the cliches, of these films, as opposed to kind of outright calling them out, and just kind of basically, yes, it's a very sincere approach. That's what I'm saying. It's not one that kind of discards, and kind of pretends to be above, these elements, and it kind of embraces these actually at the same time as kind of being self-aware, and it's a really genius film at times. Actually, this script, it's just so great, and Wes Craven directing this film, and let me just say, truly one of his best films, and just as kind of unique in a way as Nightmare on Elm Street, and just such a great slasher film, with characters that I truly care about and just enjoy on so many levels, and just seeing, of course, this iconic killer, Ghostface, and we get to the reveals later on in the film, which we'll get to very soon. But this this character of Ghostface, as he's referred to, as is just one of the best in horror history, really, and just. Of course, I also have memories of when I was a kid. Before actually seeing these films, and I'd heard about them, and I had kind of a little bit later on from that, I had discussed just these films at school and stuff, and without seeing them. But when I was really young, Halloween, the kind of time of Halloween, I remember kind of someone wearing this Scream mask, and just coming to the door. My parents opened the door, and just me kind of looking, and the guy just scared me, just which just kind of frightened me for a long time actually, and just gave me nightmares. And there was another time as well where someone just put their face at the window, wearing this mask as well, and just all these different memories of being scared by this this kind of image. And then a few years after that, being desperate to kind of watch this film and all the films within this franchise. Back then it was just free. When I started watching these films, the fourth one hadn't come out by that point, but yeah, it's just kind of already kind of experiencing this before watching the films, and I just have so many memories of watching the first film here, and it's a really, really special kind of film. This celebrating as well high school life, and this kind of nostalgic warm feeling of these characters banding together, and just the great way in which we see these characters commenting on horror films, and it kind of just it shows the love of the horror films that they're kind of commenting on, and it's not kind of as I say, kind of calling them out. It's kind of just celebrating the elements, within the slasher films that they kind of, are mentioning, and just the genre itself in a general sense, and kind of. It's so clever how it kind of balances this out, satire and fully investing film in its own way. As a slasher film, it's part of this genre, and just a very unique one. And I think really at times this film is masterful. In what it's doing here. Kind of a dark comedy. Of course a whodunit thriller, and just a full-on kind of really intense. I would say slasher film. Very, very violent, and just. I think as well, a real deep kind of exploration of violence itself, and questioning this, and mental illness in relation to that, and it's very, very fascinating. For example, Stu and as well Billy. As we know, the reveal being in the final act that it was both of these characters who were kind of doing these killings, but especially Stu, he's a very, very unstable character, clearly mentally ill, and you could say that as we know in the final act, really it's kind of characters, that kind of they have motivations, but at the same time they don't, and it's kind of the mystery of this, and really a motivation isn't always a motive isn't always necessary, but at the same time we have the motivation of Billy, but with Stu it's literally just he's unstable, he's insane, and he's just doing this, and because he jokes at one point, it's peer pressure, so really, really interesting film, and how it's kind of exploring violence, in a kind of comedic way as well. As we know, we have the prologue starting off with Casey Becker, and she's this kind of high school student as well, at the school, the rest of the characters, and a great way to open the film, as this kind of prologue. She is a student, and then after that we have the rest of the film. We have really split into two halves. I wouldn't say it's kind of a simple 1, 2, 3 act film. It's really the film until the party scenes, you could say, at the location, which is really, the second half of the film, characters coming and going, but really centered around this, and before that, is around the kind of school, you could say, and once the school closes, that is the second half, and it's kind of these two parts really, as opposed to 1, 2, 3. I would say you have the prologue. You could say that's the opening act, but really that is just a prologue to me, and it kind of kickstarts the intensity and all this kind of stuff, and then it leads to the other two parts. So yes, of course, this opening sequence here, this prologue, if you will, very iconic, very well known, and very much loved. Of course, we have Drew Barrymore playing Casey Becker, and we have this very comedic start to the film, and the popcorn, all this kind of stuff, and the phone call that she gets, and we have this feeling though, where it goes into this real, it kind of transitions into this real intense and disturbing kind of sequence, and really that sets the tone for the film. We have this kind of blend of comedy, real extreme violence, and a real intensity as well, and a tragedy as well. We have this kind of this death, for example, being very, very sad and tragic and disturbing, and that runs throughout the film. The sense of tragedy, which we'll get to, especially with our protagonist. But yes, we have this kind of gruesome end to this character, and then of course it leads in through the rest of the film. We have these this killing being kind of reported, and we have this news reporter, Gail Weathers, and she is of course a big character in the film, played by Courteney Cox, and she's great in this film. I love her so much in this, and the rest of the films, the franchise as well. Regulars of course, Courteney Cox, and as well. David Arquette, these are some big actors, of course, that are in these films, and obviously Niv Campbell as well. But Courteney Cox is great in this, and so kind of, she is so likable in this, even though she's a character who is kind of an obstacle, to Sydney. But yes, this character, our protagonist, of course, Sydney Prescott, is so interesting, and so well, kind of performed by Niv Campbell, and I think she's great in this, and just such a kind of compelling character. A real sense of tragedy, to this character. The sense that, of course, this being, in the film, roughly a year since her mother, of course, was murdered, and it's a real dark event that happened, and this murder, though, of Casey Becker, kind of brings back this sense of fear and paranoia, of course, amongst all these different characters. Of course, Woodsboro, the kind of neighbourhood, and it's a real kind of great sense of location in this film, of course, but real atmosphere as well, as a charm, and a real sense of dread that runs throughout this, and all these different characters kind of discussing this, and linking in the kind of comments, of course, being made on horror films. These are characters who are in the film watching horror films and commenting on them, and the sense of admiration and obsession, of course, between different characters. For example, Randy, who knows about loads of different horror films, quoting them, and kind of linking in this into the actual real world in this film, and it's such a kind of surreal, unique, I would say, blend. And yes, just working so wonderfully this, and how these different characters, are commenting on horror films, but also this highly investing narrative, and set of circumstances, for these characters, and I love how it's all kind of connected. They all have kind of a past, in some way, really, and it's all kind of, intertwining here, in a sense, this weaving of intricate kind of relationships, and emotions that have. For example, Sydney Prescott having this kind of past with Courteney Cox's character, Gail Weathers, because she made comments, of course, on the mother's death, Sydney's mother, and there is a sense of tension, this friction between them, and they have this kind of history here of that, and it kind of resurfaces because of the events, of this current murder that happened, in the film, of Casey Becker, and it all kind of goes from there, and we see this kind of high school life, and then of course when the schools are closed, of course we have schools out, playing, and that's a great moment there. But then of course we have this this kind of party sequence that lasts for really the rest of the film, leading into the final moments, last few scenes, of course, when the actual killer or killers are revealed, and such a genius kind of moment. This final act here is so great, and I think really this film kind of, I could say I prefer the first half. I could say I prefer the second half. It's kind of just as good, and it's only in its own kind of way. And but the final act, the way in which these reveals, are kind of shown to us, is so investing. Such a kind of great piece of writing here. This film and direction, of course. The editing here as well, so sharp, and just to balance out these different these characters, and the kind of arcs of these characters, and of course the action sequences, the chase sequences, so investing, and just thrilling to behold. And I really love how we have this kind of really surreal, amped up final act with these characters, and how they're kind of acting, of course, Billy Loomis, of course, really being such a kind of scary character, played, of course, by Skeet Ulrich. He is great in this film, and obviously he does die in this film, and he's not in the other films, but we have some recurring characters, as we go throughout this this franchise, but such a great character, here, and just this character of Billy, being in this relationship with Sydney, and we have this very complex relationship, and it's really great how he is one of the killers, and there's this kind of motivation that's revealed. It's kind of really twisted, though, the way in which it's revealed to us, and we have this very kind of dark moment in the end there, but we also have Stu being the other kind of the killer, of course, and he doesn't really have a motivation, and I love, as I say, that kind of mix there. We have the motivation being important, and also at the same time not so much. So it's kind of this great balance here, of that. And one such example of a great kind of dissection of horror genre and different slasher films, and it's great to see, and just this real kind of balanced final act in general. We have so many different character moments, great comedic moments again, but real kind of sustained action chase sequences, and some great kind of kills as well, but characters as well who survive this film, and it's great to see. It's not just one character being the sole survivor. There are multiple characters who make it out of this film, and of course are in the next film as well, and so forth. But it's great to see this kind of the way in which Sydney kind of really just fights back against these villains, and it's a really kind of inspiring film, very moving actually, and to see her kind of make it out, so satisfying to see her make it out at the end, and just kind of defeat these kind of killers, and it's a real kind of psychological kind of progression, as well as being defeating these characters physically. It's a real kind of, she's overcoming her trauma in that sense, and a really empowering film this in this character, and just such a great character. The writing and of course the acting by Niv Campbell is so spot on. Really kind of really relatable character, and the sense of trauma that runs throughout this film for this character especially, and how she's dealing with this is really, really fascinating, and just adds so much weight, and kind of feeling for her character, and getting behind this character, and really rooting for this character. But other characters as well, other individuals in the film are really so great to see. Of course, entertaining, but really investing as well. Randy, and of course Dewey as well. Dewey is this kind of character, very hilarious character as well. But, David Arquette, playing Dewey as such a kind of comedic one, as well as really investing, in its own way, and of course this romance that forms is such a kind of great part about this film is this romance between Gail and Dewey, and seeing this kind of develop, and it's a real kind of you could say unorthodox relationship, the kind of dynamic here, but it's so kind of magical, I feel, and of course we'll talk about how that kind of develops as well. Really, really great to see that develop throughout the other films actually as well. But in this film, really every single thing about this film is just great, and just seeing seeing these characters, the score as well. Marco Beltrami, he didn't really have too much experience before this film, but great stuff. In fact, remarkable score here. Great stuff, and really atmospheric, mysterious as well, and just epic in the right places. Of course, Wes Craven, etc. Did kind of coach him in a way, and they wanted certain things, particulars with this score, but he really provided a very, very unique actually, and kind of rousing score as well for this film. Really great to see, and obviously the songs injected as well. It's a great mix of a score, original score, and of course existing songs, and really upbeat film at times, and really was atmospheric as well in that sense, in different moments when it needs to be, very emotional moments as well, and just a great kind of complex set of characters, and also kind of just surface level enjoyment, hilarious characters, of course Stu and Randy especially, and the whole kind of moment, in the final act, when Stu says, I'll be right back, it's just a great moment of comedy there, and as well in the store where Randy kind of works, just a great kind of, some great comedic moments there, and just really hilarious film at times, and even just the villain, kind of very, or the villains, our killers, of the film. When we see Ghostface kind of chasing different characters, or talking to them, kind of thing, even on the phone, we have this kind of sense of comedy to this, as well as being kind of really, really scary film, and disturbing. Of course, this film, I would say, it's not quite, I think the prologue is just not as good as the rest of the film, and it kind of I think there are a few things that could have been even better in this film, but really, this is simply a one that isn't quite a masterpiece, but very, very close, and it doesn't really have. I really have no particular kind of issues really with this film. Simply just, a stunning film all round, and I think just these characters, this writing, so clever and just enjoyable at the same time. I admire this film, for example, in what he's doing, and at the same time, just such an enjoyable, nostalgic film, and just really, wonderful locations, and I love the way the film is shot. The color tones, of course, a real nostalgic kind of look to this film, and this whole kind of neighborhood. It's just lovely to see and kind of experience, and seeing as well other different horror films featured in this, and it's a great kind of film that comments on these films, and really interesting film, very of course meta. It's very interesting as well how Wes Craven directed. Of course, he made New Nightmare 2 years before this. Then it's another film here, kind of a very meta film, making comments on different horror films, and it's great to see this. And I think personally, though, this is way better than New Nightmare. And actually, for me, this is one of Wes Craven's greatest achievements. It's just a very special film for me, and growing up watching this, and just such a warm film. This, I watched it 2 years ago as well. I watched the entire trilogy, and it's great once again picking up on different things as well in this film this time around, and just getting all these feels back. Just a warm film, very magical feeling at times, and real kind of masterclass at times in editing and just shooting different horror sequences, and in a comedic as well at the same time, and just really injecting this the use of satire as well in a very clever way, and a real a wonderful film this actually, and I just love this film to bits. I really do. I think the direction here is stunning, the score of course as well, wonderful. The acting is mostly great, truly great. Of course, David Arquette, is a standout in this film. Courteney Cox as well, so great, and of course, Niv Campbell. She is the star of the show in that sense. Very kind of subtle performance at times, and other times, really just she's really kind of this character who goes through this transformation, and in the end, she's very confident as well. This character, and Niv Campbell really brings out all the different traits, kind of complexities of this character, and we have this sense of underlying trauma to this character, but as well, things she kind of becomes this character who really she defeats the killers in the end, of course, and just great stuff to see, and to see her transformation, and to just witness this group of characters, so much great characters in this film, all kind of related in some way, in the sense of a story here, in a narrative sense, and some real kind of great world building. This is the thing. This film is so well built up, and kind of different suggested moments. It kind of adds up gradually to this really stunning piece of world building, and one that I'm fascinated by this kind of universe that's created, and sustained tension as well, comedy, and it's just a great mix of great filmmaking, I feel, and in terms of horror, certainly one of my favorite kind of modern horrors, that's for sure, and it's certainly among my favorite horrors actually, in cinema history. I absolutely love this film. I think this is just one of Wes Craven's best films, and certainly I'll say it now, my personal favourite of the franchise. This film here is certainly above the other films for me in this franchise, and just the original Scream. Wow, what a film this is, and just a great slasher film. You can enjoy it on that level. It's also a meta film, making very clever kind of comments on different horror films, in a comedic way, and also in this kind of this sense of celebrating this this kind of passion for horror films. Kevin Williamson as well, he loved different horror films, and he channeled this through his script, and of course directed by Wes Craven, who also was kind of leaning towards this with New Nightmare, this kind of direction and this kind of way of commenting on different horrors and being self-aware. And this film here, it brings this all together and creates such a unique film, and of course spawned the sequels as well to this film. And you can see why, because so much kind of potential, to kind of go in different ways and make a sequel to this film. Of course, so many possibilities, and Scream 2 as well is a film that I have many great things to say about. Yes, the original Scream though, this film here is stunning to behold. A really powerful film at times. A real weight to particular characters, especially of course Sidney Prescott, played wonderfully by Niv Campbell, and just a great kind of slasher film, comedy film, and a unique horror film celebrating other horrors, and just kind of being its own kind of unique slasher kind of experience as well. And I love how this film was shot and edited, and the score as well, as we've mentioned. The script to this film is so great, and just seeing Wes Craven once again back directing, he really was on form with this film. And so my final rating for this film is very high indeed, and that is a 97%. Yes, indeed. Wow, Scream for me, it's just a stunning film. What a film this is. Great characters. Just such a kind of nostalgic film this as well, and wonderful locations. Great kind of concept as well. But many different ideas. Going throughout this film, and all coming together. In such a way, and really wonderfully directed. Of course, once again, it's down to this being a Wes Craven film, and he really was, for me, one of the best kind of horror filmmakers, and real kind of creative individual. And obviously the script as well, penned by Kevin Williamson, so great, and full of depth to these characters, and just a real kind of wacky film at times. Of course, a satire, this, and one that at times this is doing kind of it's satirizing different films, and also kind of embracing the elements that it's kind of commenting on, and because it's inevitable really for a horror film at times to follow these different kind of patterns, if you will, and it's simply the fascination and the affection really for these tropes, cliches, if you say, and just kind of celebrating them in a way, and really it's great to see that. Such a kind of sincere film this, and real kind of magical experience, and really not too many flaws at all with this film, and simply one that doesn't really go to the kind of quite to the masterpiece level, but it doesn't really need to. And for me, regardless, this film is among my favourite kind of horror films, and a real kind of satisfying ending, one that kind of you could say maybe the film could have gone even further with the kind of wrap up of the different kind of threads, and that kind of stuff, but it ends perfectly as well in the same in the kind of sense of the final shot of the film, what a shot that is, and just seeing how this kind of night unfolded, and the morning after, in that sense, is a great kind of way to end this. And it's a real at times it's a spiritual experience, kind of following for example Sidney Prescott, and her kind of struggle, and her kind of coming to terms, you could say, throughout this film with the death of her mother, and kind of having to kind of deal with this again, bringing back this kind of feeling, through the murder of Casey Becker, in our prologue, and it's just a real kind of great way to begin the film, and a great way to kind of end the film as well. A real kind of stunning final act overall. Wow, a really stunning film this, and just the first half, the second half as well. It's both kind of these two parts are so enjoyable in their own kind of way, and very, you could say, very different, very distinct, you could say, but you get so much patient kind of character building, character working here, and you get the kind of the thrilling, kind of intense, really kind of out there sequences at the end, and of course the reveals in this film, so great, and really so well timed as well, and the different character beats, the story beats, of course, real kind of interesting placement throughout the film, and just a really you know, stunning film here, and really kind of charming piece of cinema. Scream, for me, you know, is truly a great film, and very, you know, not far off being, you know, an actual masterpiece, actually. And yeah, regardless though, you know, it's certainly on my favourite films list, and one that I've always kind of loved since I saw it. You know, it was an instant kind of, you know, I love this film, and just really, you know, getting behind these characters, and you know, just being along for the ride. You know, back then I guess I was more scared of this, you know, going in, because, you know, I have that kind of memories as well of actual, you know, real life encounters with different people wearing this mask, and it's just a, you know, design that is just truly, you know, haunting, you know, for a kid to see, for example. But you know, then going to actually watch you know, these films a little bit after that, you know, it was great to do, and I have so many memories of this this film here, and you know, the other films as well. You know, the other two films really in the trilogy. Scream 4 I've seen once, and you know, it was very much obviously later on than, you know, watching this trilogy. But you know, I have some things to say about that. Although I've only seen that you know, once really. So yeah, I'll kind of be very interesting on the rewatch. You know, of course, I do plan on reviewing these films, but 2, 3, and 4 will be January. I would say that we kind of go back to doing these. I look forward to this, and yes, it'd be great to hear your thoughts. So yes, as always, take care, and yes, thanks for watching.